We were just drinking it straight. We overserved ourselves and we woke up the next day and we were like, hold on, like, how are we all fine? Mezcal by Mexican law must be 100% pure agave. So that right there, the law states that you cannot tamper with the additives.
It's made in such a thoughtful and careful way. It's also rich in antioxidants and things of that nature as well.
But it has so many health benefits if drank, in the proper way and used properly. It really does. It's like kind of nuts.
Welcome to The Well Drop, your go-to source for actionable wellness tips. We're your hosts, Amber Berger and Dina Wismer, and today we're delving into a topic that is very hot these days, and that's alcohol. For those of us, including me, who enjoy a casual drink with friends, how do we make the best choices for our body?
So I don't know about you, Amber, but I feel like I'm constantly reading contradicting information about whether an occasional drink is good for me or not. And at the end of the day, there's no doubt that there are times when I want to enjoy a drink with friends. So for me, I've decided that when I do enjoy that drink, I just want to make sure I'm choosing the healthiest option available.
I couldn't agree more. I know the sober, curious movement is trending, and I love to, sort of figure out what is the best drink for me. And so I'm so excited to welcome Erin Lichy, a serial entrepreneur and the founder and CMO of Mezcalum, on the Well Drop today. She is going to highlight the benefits of mezcal. So if you're going to drink, what is the best drink to choose? You may recognize Erin from the Real Housewives of New York. She and her husband, Abe, launched Mezcalum together. It's amazing you're working with your husband. It is a mezcal made from 100% espadin and quiche agave.
Erin's son is one of my son's besties. And just like with Amber, I find that we're constantly sharing information about wellness, things like acupuncture. And I'm so grateful that she's taken the time today to share her journey with Mezcalum.
Tulum in a bottle.
I like that. We're going to dive into why mezcal is considered a healthier choice if we're going to indulge in alcohol. Unlike many other spirits, mezcal is made from 100% agave with no added sugars or artificial ingredients. So whether you're a seasoned mezcal enthusiast like myself or just curious about what drink to choose for your body, you'll find this conversation enlightening and inspiring.
So pour yourself a drink, sit back, and join us as we explore the world of mezcal and with the passionate founder of Mezcalum. Let's dive in. Erin, thank you so much for being here. We'd love to get started with the story behind how this all started, what inspired you, how you became focused on mezcal.
So I'm going to give you the real raw truth. About 12 years ago, Abe and I were in Tulum. We love Tulum. It's actually changed a bit since, when we fell in love with it. But it was just when we discovered it, it just felt like this insanely untouched kind of place that now it's definitely changed. But this beautiful beach that also was flanked by this jungle. And I found that I was able to, not only have like a spirited night, but also engage in the wellness activities that I love. I mean, eating amazing food, organic food, fresh fruits and vegetables, doing a yoga class on the beach, having a green smoothie, going for a walk. Like there were all these other elements to it, which were really important to me. It wasn't like, going to Cancun and just partying or anything like that. And I remember we were staying at this one house on the beach and the house manager came by one night with a bunch of like unnamed mezcals. And we were like, what is this? Is this tequila? And he's like, no, we don't drink tequila here. It's mezcal. And he put us on and we tried it. We overserved ourselves and we woke up the next day and we were like, hold on, like, how are we all fine? Weird, because we were just drinking it straight and we had like some, orange slices that we were kind of like chasing it with. And, he came back and he was doing lunch and I was like, can you tell me about mezcal? I'm just so curious. Like, I just feel fine today and it's weird. And he started really diving into the process and, the differences between mezcal and tequila. So tequila by Mexican law only has to be 51% pure agave, which leaves 49% to be additive heavy. Mezcal by Mexican law must be 100% pure agave. So that right there, the law states that you cannot tamper with the additives
The
in
ingredients. I think that's a huge
ingredients.
point. I
Yeah.
actually learned that from you guys. I ran into you guys at the biohacking conference,
Yes.
and I am
Isn't that cool that we were there? Like
I
we were the
I
only
was
spirit.
shocked, and so
I know.
I didn't even realize it was your company at the time. I was just talking to the girls. I'm like, "How are you
Wow.
here? And why are you here?" And I was like, but I saw a lot of people were taking the mezcal because you can
Mhm.
be into wellness, but doesn't mean you need to not also indulge. It's just indulge mindfully. And you
Exactly.
guys told me about the Mexican law, and I couldn't believe that being a mezcal and tequila drinker, I had no idea about the rules and
I drink a
regulations.
lot of tequila, and you've hands down with that. I have not heard that before, and now I will always choose mezcal
Yes,
because that's huge. That's huge in terms of making a good
huge.
choice.
Absolutely. And I think like, look, there are tequilas, like there are some tequilas that I really enjoy that are 100%, additive free and pure agave, but you have to look for
Yeah,
it. It's not like implicit. So that's the nice thing with mezcal that you just know that it has to be by law 100% pure because what happens a lot of times with any brand is the brand will sell and it will go to like it'll have a parent company now and it, they'll add additives to cut costs and they won't notify the consumers because they don't really have to.
right.
So and then that really makes all the difference in the next day because when you're consuming in your spirit and then especially if you're having a cocktail that has other added sugars, the sugars are what really deplete you.
Mhm.
It's like a whole world of difference when you're having a pure spirit. So yeah, that was where we discovered it.
And I will note that I think as you get older too, I think
Yeah.
you feel that more and more, and it matters more and more. When you're younger, your body digests the sugars and the alcohol so much more efficiently, and as you get older, you really start to feel a difference, and it matters that much more.
And I think the other thing is like I mean, I don't know. Obviously, I'm speaking for people around me in New York, but we're so mindful about what we eat. We care about things being organic. We want to know that it's farm to table. We care where our meat's coming from, but we don't really think about alcohol. I mean, I see still educated people will sit down at a restaurant with me and they'll be like, "I'll have a tequila soda," and I'm like, "You're not even going to say what kind of tequila?
Yeah.
You don't even know what it is. It could just be like garbage." So I think that it's a learning curve, and I think that the shift is near and will really change the industry.
Yeah, I think that that's such a good point that when you're out at night, what really excited me with learning about the mezcal rules in Mexico is that you don't have to be an mezcal aficionado. Like, I don't know all the different brands and the types of mezcal, but at least from a clean standpoint, you can order any of them wherever you are. It doesn't matter the brand. You at least know you're getting a clean product. And then the taste is a separate thing, but at least you know from an ingredient standpoint, you're getting something clean. And I mean, I've already, like, moved my husband is huge tequila drinker. He's a big
Mhm.
guy, so he can also drink a lot. So I was like, "All right, we need to, like, shift." And we love mezcal. I was actually introduced to mezcal in Cabo for the first time probably 12 years ago, which is kind of funny.
Wow.
And, we did a mezcal tasting because we never heard of mezcal before. So, "What is mezcal?" I was like, "All right, let's do a taste test and see." And I, on that trip, discovered I love smokiness. And I
Mm.
want to talk about the difference of mezcal and tequila from a
Yes.
taste standpoint, but I love
Yes.
spicy and I love smoky. And so for me, mezcal kind of like hits both of those. And I don't need any additive tinctures per se.
Right. Right.
Um, and it's
Sugars.
like, yeah, and it's the
Yeah, that's what
perfect
it is.
cocktail.
Yeah.
So that leads me to say one really interesting point about just like the complexity of mezcal and the main difference. So another huge, huge difference between tequila and mezcal is that tequila is only made by one type of agave species, which is blue Weber agave, which is why it's made in Jalisco. Um, Mezcal is I think there's like 85 species of agave
Oh,
plants that it's
wow.
made by. It's kind of like a wine, right? Like you blend a Merlot and it tastes different, or you have,
Mhm.
different wine blends and it changes the whole energy and the complexity of the drink. That's the beauty of mezcal too, because you can have a full tabala, you can have an espadin, you can have the little amount of quiche, which is a wild agave that we put into our mezcal after trying maybe 60 variations. And I'm not even kidding. Like the boys were like, can we pick one? Like, it was crazy. But it made such a difference in the taste and the flavor profile. So that is also another completely different element, And the other thing is also because tequila is really kind of what's the word I'm looking for?
Produced.
Saturated?
Saturated.
Overproduced.
Yeah.
Thank you. The agave plants are younger and younger because they can't
No,
catch up with the demand.
that makes
So you're
sense.
not getting, the real quality of the aged agave.
That's funny you say that because I think I'm not going to name the brand, but it comes in a really pretty blue and white bottle. That the
I
tequila
know
that
it.
you drink in Mexico in that bottle tastes very different than the tequila you drink
Mm,
in outside the country.
interesting.
And I wonder, who knows, if it has a difference with, one of them, the plants being able to be older and grow more
Mm,
mature versus a little bit younger. There is, even though they're using the same plant, right? You don't think of those complexities of age that makes a difference. But we taste the difference, which
Totally.
is interesting.
Well, can you explain the traditional process of making
Mhm.
mezcal? Because it has deep cultural roots, but
Okay.
I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah. Um, it's really interesting actually, and the boys can speak more eloquently on it because they've actually seen it. But the way that tequila is distilled are in these like big vats, and it's very industrialized, and you could even see it if you like Google just tequila distillery. But the way mezcal, because of the laws, it has to be distilled in the traditional way, which is firing the pinas are the agave plants like in this big kind of hole in the ground, and then they actually have horses walk around and crush them, and then it
Wow.
goes through this whole distillation process, which is why the smokiness level is higher because they're actually burning the plants to a certain level and then having them crushed by horses.
That's
So our
crazy.
mezcalero, who actually is a partner in our business, which is I think the best part of us working with him, is a third generation mezcalero. So his mom's mom, his dad's parents were both mezcaleros, and then they got married, and then they joined this like huge, empire of mezcal distilling,
That's
and it's just
amazing. Like,
very
I
cool.
wanted to get back to
That's
how
amazing.
did, after you were in Tulum and you tasted mezcal, you woke up, you had no hangover, did you decide, like, I'm starting a mezcal drink?
So that's a good question, and that's where the candid part comes in. But I was on this show, and Abe and I were talking, and I was like, I'm in the service-based industry, like I'm in real estate, and I design homes. Like how am I going to manage this while I'm filming a show? It was like in the middle, I think, of season one, and I was so overwhelmed, and like it just was crazy. And I'm like, I think I need a product. And I was like, but I will only do something I fully believe in and that I really care about. And the thing that's funny about it was that after we had that first, initial experience with our house manager and the mezcal, we always talked about it. We are like always like, one day we'll have our own mezcal. One day, one day, one day. And I'll never forget, we were driving down 57th Street, like stuck in traffic, and we were just brainstorming, and we were like, what about mezcal? Like maybe it's a time to start a mezcal brand. And we came up with a name. The next day, Abe is an attorney. He filed the trademark, and
That's
really
great.
the
I
rest
think
is
it's great.
history.
I mean, I think mezcal, it's wonderful that you created a new product and are giving it a platform to really educate and put it out there for people to learn about in order to like just clean up their drinking habits. Because like Dina said, especially for women as we get older,
Mhm.
we a lot of times people stop drinking alcohol. We have an amazing vitamin to help that we
Yeah,
use, H-proof, that we love, that you could take after you've drank, so you could wake up as if you never drank. But what's amazing is that you can have the mezcal and still get that feeling because of the zero additives. And I think it's so important. And people don't know
yeah,
about mezcal.
it's
It's really
incredible.
just not.
I know.
Well, yeah, I feel like it is starting to have a moment. I mean, Erin, are you finding that? I
Yes.
see it more and more, and I hear about it more and more. And of course, Mezcalum is part of that moment. It's part of leading that moment. So it's great. I mean, I think it's wonderful that if we are going to be drinking, as you said, we've talked about, for instance, coffee on our show
Mhm.
and the things that we put in our body on a regular basis that we've been told are not good for us, not good for us. Well, if you make the right choices, it doesn't have to be bad for your health. You don't have to make those sacrifices. And
Exactly.
it's really empowering to know, okay, I have options.
Yeah.
So, thank you for giving us even more options. It's
Oh, I
very,
love that. I love that. I mean, I think for me, I am a big believer in like being relaxed about things. I was at dinner actually last night with two of my best college girlfriends, and we were talking about health and wellness and kids, and because that's like what we talk about now. How boring. But, just like there's like, because we have friends that are either really on like the crazy spectrum of being neurotic and, we get it, like it's a scary world and people get sick and it's freaky. And then we have other people that are just like still living their college life. And that's also like, that's not good. You got to clean it up a little. But there is something to say about like being relaxed, and being able to have a night with girlfriends and laughing and like what that does for the soul and even for
yes.
your health. And so I think like there's nothing wrong if you can find balance. It's like saying never eat any sugar, never have a piece of cake, like watch what your kid like, that's also not a healthy way of life. So
Yeah, I'm obsessed with the blue zones. Are you familiar with the areas
yes,
in the world where people live
yes.
the
Okay,
longest?
yeah. Did you
I'm
read
upset.
Mark
You're
Hyman's
for years. I mean, I've read all of. I'm obsessed with the blue zones, and
Yeah.
what I love about the messages is that you can indulge. It just as you said, Amber, and you always say mindfully,
Yeah.
right? If you're at a wedding, have a piece of cake, have a
Right.
drink.
Right.
It doesn't have to be every night. It shouldn't be every night, but community and the sense of
Yeah.
being together, which having a drink can do for us, is
Mhm.
as important to your health as is abstaining from, as is eating your green vegetables, because it all feeds into each other. And is it true things like mezcal, if because it's made in such a thoughtful and careful way, it's also rich in antioxidants and things of that nature as well?
Good for gut health. It has a whole like crazy, I mean, it's weird for us to talk about. And it's something that Abe is our attorney, and a co-founder is like, let's not lean into the health stuff, but it has so many health benefits if drank, in the proper way and used properly. It really does. It's like kind of nuts.
I get why the attorney. I was an attorney before a long time
You
ago,
can
and so
look
I'm like,
it
oh, I
up.
get
We'll
that.
have
I get
everyone
why.
do their own
Yeah,
research.
like, why
It's
don't
there.
we
They can find it.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's crazy. We've like done our research, and it's to learn that it's good for your gut and your microbiome. Like what? I mean, even better. Give me the mezcal. But then people go crazy, and
Too.
especially Americans, and they
I
drink
know.
like
I think that's our
way too much of
problem.
it. So
Our
Yeah.
society is always, faster, stronger, harder, more. And we forget the act of moderation. And
yeah,
especially when it comes to alcohol, there's a lot of messaging right now going out there of how toxic alcohol is and that it's a poison and it's so bad. And
hmm
maybe there's like this anti-alcohol movement going on. I'm not sure. But if you're doing it in moderation and you're doing it with clean products, your body, it is a plant, right? Agave is a plant, it's natural earth. Your body will
yeah.
recognize
I
it
can't
and
bring my
be able to process it.
yeah.
It's not something that's made. Yes, of course, it's kind of processed in the sense that they're creating alcohol, but it's not some fake ingredient. It's coming from a real source and then being filtered into a drinking beverage.
Right. But that's a good point because to your point, that's the problem with it, right?
Yeah.
Because some of it does have fake ingredients. And that's the
Yeah.
stuff that really probably makes people sick. Like drinking this dark, like I don't know, I don't drink whiskey or scotch or anything like that, but I think that a lot of them must have additives, right? Because they're so sweet, a lot of them, and they, like what a Fireball that people drink. Remember how sweet and
Like,
weird
what's in
that
a
tasted?
Cosmo? I
Like that
don't even
had to
know.
have a bunch of
But
Oh,
like
please. I drank way worse in college. Dr. Pepper, and I
yeah,
mean, don't
same.
ask.
I just drink garbage. Like, and
Yeah.
that's the poison in our body. It's the same thing when people are like, don't eat boxed mac and cheese. Like
right.
eating pasta is fine, but eating boxed mac and
Yeah.
cheese is really bad, you
Yeah.
know?
So, what should we be looking for when we go
No,
to
no,
the
so
liquor
cheese and
store? I'm
powder
sorry,
is just
Amber,
not normal.
for you. Um, yeah, she's a when we
Yeah.
go to the liquor store, what should we be looking for? What's your advice if we are there? Um, other than of course looking for mezcal, are there things that we should be keeping an eye
Yeah.
open for?
Additive free for sure. Like always look, there's usually a little label there. Organic is great too if you can find it. It's more important with wine, organic, because the grapes are then organic and they're not sprayed. So like that's actually important. Also the DOC on I love wine too. So those are my like I love mezcal and I love wine. Like a great bottle of wine with a certain meal, I think is just nice and good for the soul. So I love Italian wines and I love where where it says on the label, the DOC, I think it's DOC. I always look for that. And again, like organic wines are good. That being said, I think it's okay to drink like I mean, there's like this whole movement in wine too I guess it's organic grapes, but also they just taste, you know what I mean? Like I don't know what those are. It's like I don't want to name any brand names, but there's a bunch that the flavors have really changed because they're better for you. I think if you get a really good quality Italian wine, it's just
Yeah,
as
in
fine.
Europe,
Like I don't think that,
there's
you need
thousands
to
of chemicals
necessarily
we're not allowed to spray on rocks
yeah,
that they can in the US. So I
exactly.
agree. If it can't be organic, because a lot of restaurants
Right.
don't tend to have those, I'll always opt for something that's coming from Europe.
Yeah, exactly. So in terms of tequila and mezcal, just look for additive free.
And
It'll
where can
always
we
say it if
find
it's additive
Mezcalum?
free, almost always. Oh my gosh, we're in over like 800 accounts. But we only sell for now, since we just kind of launched a year ago, in the Northeast. So we're in New York, we're in Jersey, we're in Rhode Island, we're in Connecticut, we're in the Hamptons, we're in Long Island, we're in, I mean,
Can I ship Amber some bottles to Florida?
yeah,
I
I've
mean,
been really
Miami,
thinking
you
about
need
South
to.
Florida. Um, I know, I know. We want to like really
Yeah,
capture all of the
we'll be
Northeast
waiting
and then keep moving it around. Um, But yes, but
so you can
we
order
ship to
online.
you, so that's fine.
Can you go online and order? And
Yeah.
if you don't live in the Northeast, you can go
Mhm.
online and order a shipment?
Well,
I
I'll be
believe so.
doing it
I mean, not my
and
area
let you
of
know.
expertise. Let me see. I will let you know, but you can order online and people do order online. The only thing is we're launching our new website, so give us like a
Fine. We'll
week or
have it
so,
all in the show
and
notes.
then
You
we'll
don't
be
have
able
to
to do it.
worry. We'll put it all in there. You guys can try out your mezcal,
Perfect.
report back to us, but let us know what you think. How do you like to enjoy your mezcal, Erin?
Um, I like my mezcal on the rocks with either fresh grapefruit squeezed or a little bit of OJ, fresh OJ, or grapefruit juice. I love Fever Tree, but it does have a lot of sugar, so I try to limit it. But I love Fever Tree in our mezcal. It's also really good
Ooh,
in an
those are
espresso
having a
martini.
moment down
Oh, wow.
here.
Yeah.
I didn't have to think of
My
mezcal.
mother-in-law loves her espresso martinis, so it's good.
I love no, it's so good. I mean, because
Uh,
our mezcal is not very smoky. It has a light smoke to it. The concept that we had was let's create a product that will replace tequila. And I was a tequila drinker before. It's just an easy, light on the smoke, but still complex when you drink it on its own, product that people can just literally be like, okay, and now I know tequila is not as good for me. I can just swap it out with mezcalum. So that was really the point
I
of
love
the
that.
flavor
I
profile.
think on that note, to close out this conversation, what is one drop of wellness wisdom you'd like to leave with our listeners today?
Um, just live a balanced life, moderation. Don't be too hard on yourself. I mean, with food, with, everything, with being a parent, if you're a parent, with being a friend, everything. Just kind of go a little easier on yourself and enjoy life.
And I will say that, Erin, your son has the most polite
Oh,
manners of any 9-year-old I think I've ever met.
Literally the best compliment I could ever get. So thank you.
And he
So
is just a
happy.
lovely guest, and,
Aw.
in 10
yes.
years, we'll have him over for some mezcal.
And by the way,
Or no, not 10 years,
And
more
then,
than that. He'll only be 19. I forgot.
no, try it at 19.
Yeah.
But they're so cute
I
together, these
love
boys. I love
that.
seeing them
Thank you
hang out.
so much for
So
being with
cute.
us on the Well Drop today and sharing your wisdom with us. I can't wait to have a mezcal together
Anytime.
when I'm in New York.
Thank you.